On today's video, the AFC Championship game. Was it rigged, or does the average fan just not understand the rules of the game? Plus, who outplayed who? Burrow versus Mahomes. We're going to talk about all this and more. Stick around.
What's happening, Chiefs Kingdom? We hope you're still gloating and loving the win over the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship game. And while they're at home crying about referees and much, much more as they're watching the Super Bowl on their couch, me and Mike's going to make a little toast here of Bengals fans' tears right now just to celebrate a little bit. And
oh, it's so good. So salty.
So good.
So
very
salty. But it's served cold. So salty and cold. And I love it, Steve. Let's get right into it. What are some of these excuses these Bengal fans are bringing up? Because apparently the AFC Championship is rigged. If the Chiefs win, God forbid that we didn't do it legally. If the Chiefs lose, we just make up excuses. But now the shoe's on the other foot, Steve. So what are they crying about?
Yeah, man, Bengals fans and Chiefs haters alike all together talking about how the refs won the game for the Chiefs. Obviously, they either don't know football or they just hate the Chiefs so much that they're blind to it, because I have no idea what they're talking about. From the perspective I watched the game, the only thing the referees did was keep the Bengals in the game. Like, it could have been a Chiefs rout in the first half, but they called back a touchdown that Isaiah Pacheco ran in for a weak holding call on Wiley. And there was much, much more. So, I mean, really, if anything, they kept points off the board for the Chiefs.
Yeah, let's break down a few of the plays the Bengals are crying about. So, number one, everybody's talking about the Joe Burrow intentional grounding call there in the final minutes of the game. You can plainly see that Burrow has two bailout options, P. Ryan and was it Mixon, I think? They both escape the pocket. They leave the pocket. They're nowhere near it. Joe Burrow's in the pocket, getting ready to get hit. He throws it in the dirt. It does not get back to the line of scrimmage, and there is not a receiver anywhere in the world. It's nowhere near catchable. That was 1,000% an intentional grounding call. And actually, I myself said, hey, that's intentional grounding. And that was 10 seconds before the flag was thrown. So I was right. They were right. The officials got that one right.
Yeah, on that play, you see Samaje Perine. He's probably at least 5 to 10 yards up the field. Joe Burrow doesn't even throw it halfway to Samaje Perine. And there was no intent on throwing it to a receiver whatsoever. He spiked it into the dirt. And what they want to complain about is, oh, well, in the next series, Patrick Mahomes did the same thing. The play that they brought up was when he was throwing to Travis Kelce, probably 15 yards down the field. His arm got hit as he threw the ball, and it still made it to Travis Kelce's feet, which means he was obviously throwing it to a receiver, not even close to intentional grounding, not even close to the same play as the one that Joe Burrow did that was actually intentional grounding. These people just don't know the rules of football, and they're looking for something to complain about.
No, the ball was tipped, his arm, something. The ball slipped. I don't know what happened, but he was making a pass. He was under duress, but he was not throwing it in the dirt. He was throwing it to a receiver. It just didn't get there. That's it. It just didn't get there. It still passed the line of scrimmage. It only come up a few yards short. It was obvious that was not intentional grounding. It was never even considered. You guys just, again, do not know the rules of the game, looking for something to cry about. Here's another one they're crying about. When Frank Clark comes through and touches Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow does a beautiful acting job and acts like he got crushed. If you guys want that called, football is going to be the most pathetic thing you've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes has been slammed all over the turf on top of his head, and you guys think they were going to call that in the AFC Championship game?
The best thing about it is everyone that gets to the quarterback, they always kind of give them the little push, or they'll touch them, letting them know they're there, because that's all they can really do with the way that football is today. Roughing the passer calls are just out of control, but these guys still want to let that quarterback know, hey, I was right here, okay? So a lot of times they'll touch them on the chest. Literally, that's what Frank Clark did, was he kind of touched him on the chest. And, of course, the flop afterwards, all dramatic like. It didn't fool me. It didn't fool anybody else. It didn't fool the referees. The only people that it fooled was the Bengals fans, because they're stupid. Any of them, I dare them to watch that play 5 times in a row and then come back and tell me that was not a flop.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They're calling out another one. On the Sky Moore return at the end of the game, they said that one of our receivers pushed them in the back, one of their gunners, but it's obvious the dude tripped over their feet. He had his hand on his back, but there was not a push. The dude just trips and falls. Come on, Kansas City's been flagged more than any team in the world on special teams penalties. Believe me, if that was a penalty, they would have called it. Again, you're just looking for something. So that is an ignorant one that you're bringing up. And then the biggest one of the day, nobody can seem to figure out that when an official blows a play dead before the play happens, that the play's just dead. They didn't give the Chiefs an extra down to make anything. The play was blown dead. There's video evidence. It was explained on TV for the entire world to see. You guys just don't want to hear it. It was obviously just too loud in the stadium, so they couldn't hear it. The play was just played out because they're not just going to come in and get in the way and get crushed themselves. They got it right. They did it again. And then they called Eli Apple for the hold. And it was an obvious PI. Like it really was. But then 3 plays later, we punted anyway. So why does it even matter? Why are you bringing that up? It didn't have any bearing on the game in the first place.
Because it was rigged, Mike. Because it was so rigged that's why they lost the game, was that meaningless series of events. Yeah, was it kind of dumb? Yes. At first, I was kind of confused as well. But they literally showed you the game tape before the ball was ever snapped. The referee come running in, blowing the play dead. The play ensued because no one heard the whistle. And then they replayed it. And like you said, Eli Apple ended up holding because he was getting roasted all day long. He had no other option. So that's just what he did, man. And that's how it went.
Yeah, it was a clock issue. Simple as that. There's video footage. Just open your eyes and watch the game. I know you don't understand the rules of the game. You'll never be as smart with the rules of the game as we are. I get it. You're a lowly Cincinnati Bengals fan. Your brains are tiny. I get it. But that's what it is. And then obviously the last play, Joseph Osai hits Mahomes out of bounds. It was obviously out of bounds.
Yeah,
You have to
questionable.
you have to still call it. It's the AFC Championship game, and I get it. It's 15 seconds left, and it put us in field goal range. But guess what? Buckner still had to hit a 45-yard field goal. And if you've watched us, special teams has not been a given all year. So it wasn't like that was a gimme either. And let's be honest, Joseph Osai hit him out of bounds. You can't do that. They're supposed to protect the quarterback. He almost killed his own coach over there, whoever it was on the sideline too. Like, obviously, I don't blame Osai. Osai didn't lose the game for you guys. Joe Burrow lost that game for you guys when he threw the ball in the dirt because he was afraid to get hit and took the intentional grounding penalty, which was 100% an intentional grounding penalty. That's where you lost the game.
Isn't that a perfect example of intentional grounding and why the rule was made? You can't just spike the ball in the dirt to get, to keep from getting sacked,
Right.
or they would do it all the time. So, and that's exactly what he did. They're just looking for something to cry about, man, because they lost. They can't handle it. They were running that mouth all year long, and then got their butts whipped. I mean, honestly, this game should have been a rout. I'm not gonna lie. The Chiefs were the way better team. They dominated the entire game on every side of the ball. I mean, it was just unreal. All 3 phases of the game, they dominated the Bengals, and the refs took points off the board for Kansas City. The fact that they're somehow trying to twist this into this was rigged and the refs were for Kansas City is probably the most comical thing I've seen in a long time. And the only people that I see posting it and talking about it on social media and things like that are people that have no idea what they're talking about, people that hate the Chiefs, Bengals fans, and even people like Jamar Chase, who is a sore loser and decided to make a big deal about the 3rd and 9 call. Dude, didn't even matter. It didn't affect the game whatsoever. You lost. You suck.
Right. Jamar Chase don't want to talk about getting shut down by a rookie all day long. What do you have? 6 catches for 75 yards and 35 or 40 come on one bonehead play.
Oh, yeah. They shut him down, bro. He didn't do nothing all day.
Jamar Chase couldn't do nothing. He was trash. Their best receiver on the field all day long was T. Higgins by far, and that was only because Josh Williams, a guy from HBCU that played against the lowest level competition ever, you got a few catches on him, big deal, but he shut you down in the end.
Man,
how does it feel to get beat by a bunch of rookies and 3rd stringers?
Not to mention, like, half of your catches came as a result of OPI that wasn't called, but we don't want to talk about that either if we're a Bengals fan or a Chiefs hater.
I just want to talk about the disrespect to the Chiefs in general. Nobody's calling out the fact that our defense is playing George Karlaftis, a rookie. They're playing Leo Chenal, a rookie. Trent McDuffie, a rookie. Brian Cook, a rookie. Josh Williams, a rookie. We even
Jalen Watson,
a rookie. We lost Willie Gay, our 2nd best linebacker. We lost our best cover corner, L'Jarius Sneed. Not to mention all the wide receivers we lost throughout the game. Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman had to leave. Trey Smith had his ankle stepped on. Isaiah Pacheco was playing on a bum ankle. Mahomes had 1 foot. He had 1 leg, bro. You all got completely trounced by a team that was nowhere near full strength. I don't care what you say. You got beat by a bunch of rookies, and these guys are here to stay. We're only getting stronger. We got 11 more draft picks this year, baby. Get used to seeing the Chiefs keep raising the banners. It's our AFC.
Yeah, so let's jump into Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. Everybody wants to make it a head-to-head deal. Let's talk about who had the better performance here. I know Skip Bayless came out and tried to stir the pot and stir some controversy and say that Joe Burrow outplayed Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. All of us that watch that game know better than that, Mike. Let's take a look at the stats.
Yeah. So you mentioned Skip Bayless. He's an idiot. Shannon Sharp was right on the day. Nick Wright, he was right. There was only a few other people that were right. Cynthia Freeland was right off the NFL Network. Patrick Mahomes is a superior quarterback to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has great qualities, but he does not have the accolades, and he has not won anything yet. I'm sorry, but 5 straight AFC championships, 3 Super Bowl appearances now for Patrick Mahomes. I don't care how many rings he's got. He's going to be the MVP. He's got a chance to win the second ring this time. But in this game, Joe Burrow, 26 for 41, 270 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. And those picks were game changers. If the Chiefs would have actually capitalized on it at the end of the first half, the Chiefs would have went into the locker room up almost 2 scores, maybe 15, 20 points if Andy Reid and them would have done something right. But instead, no, we let him back in it, so it didn't look so bad. Mahomes, besides his fumble, 29 of 43, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. He did this on one leg. Joe Burrow had his full receiving core. Patrick Mahomes had Marcus Kemp. He had Sky Moore, a rookie. He had who was the other one? MVS. That was his top 3 receivers. Meanwhile, Joe Burrow had his full slate of number 1 picks that he's got across the board at wide receiver.
Oh, they're complaining about Tyler Boyd going out,
Oh
bro.
my God.
If you're complaining about Tyler Boyd going out, and you got a problem. And they're like, oh, but he was doing so good. You know why he's doing so good? Because no one cares about Tyler Boyd. They were covering T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Throw it to Tyler Boyd.
Dude,
we don't care.
Tyler Boyd had 2 big catches. Both times McDuffie fell down because his cleats didn't catch traction. That
right.
was it. McDuffie fell down. Congratulations, Tyler Boyd. You big game. Yeah, but at the end of the day, Mahomes, one leg, no receivers, and he outdueled Joe Burrow. I don't care what anybody says, wasn't even close. Joe Burrow is the second best QB in football. I'll put him above Josh Allen. I think he's better than Josh Allen. I think he's probably better than Jalen Hurts, to be honest.
Right. Well, the thing about Patrick Mahomes is I've been saying this for probably the past month, and it's been making people mad, but I've been comparing Patrick Mahomes to Michael Jordan. Is he the Michael Jordan of football? Y'all saw me put that on our community post. And the answer to this is yes. And then also you had Colin Cowherd who came out today and kind of took what I said and ran with it. He made all the same points, and it just is what it is. I mean, when do we go ahead and say that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen in football? Because I guarantee you right now, 100%, he is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Tom Brady has all the trophies and all the shiny stuff. He's the Bill Russell. And then you've got Michael Jordan, Patrick Mahomes. And I mean, it's time to go ahead and say it right now. Mahomes is the best quarterback that you've ever watched. Quit hating, witness it, enjoy it, and just be happy you get to watch it happen, man, because this kind of thing don't come along. A player like Mahomes don't come along very often. And to just get mad and hate him the whole time, you're just wasting it. I mean, there are some great quarterbacks in the league. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. Josh Allen can be great, but he's very inconsistent. Jalen Hurts is coming along quite well. He just has trouble throwing the ball. He's more of a run-first quarterback. Lamar Jackson, same deal as Jalen Hurts. There's lots of really, really good quarterbacks. Even Tom Brady, as old as he is, he's still a good quarterback. He struggled this year, but even last year he was good. Great quarterback. He's won the most Super Bowls ever. He's, Tom Brady. Everyone wants to call him the GOAT. That's not how this is, man. Patrick Mahomes is on his own level, his own tier. He's not the same as the rest. This is all there is to it.
So you mentioned Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes against Tom Brady in 5 career conference championship games. Let's look at the stats. Patrick Mahomes, 66% completion compared to Tom Brady's 65% completion. Patrick Mahomes, 303 passing yards per game. Tom Brady, 200 passing yards per game. That's 103 more yards per game through 5 games. Patrick Mahomes, 15 total touchdowns in conference games. Tom Brady, 6 total touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, 2 picks. Tom Brady, 5 picks. Patrick Mahomes, 112 QB rating. Tom Brady, an 87 QB rating. In 5 conference championship games, Patrick Mahomes wallops Tom Brady. It's not even close in the numbers department. And Tom Brady was throwing to Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, some of the best receivers you can have. Patrick Mahomes, I'll give it to him. He had Tyreek Hill for a few of these. But other than that, it's been a tight end, guys. His biggest weapon has been a tight end. And this year, you've seen what he done yesterday with a bunch of backups. I don't want to call them scrubs. I don't want to be disrespectful. These guys put in a lot of work. But come on, Marcus Kemp is a guy that plays on the practice squad and is a special teams guy. It's not somebody you have to look to in an AFC championship game. Let's be honest.
Man, it's a very rare occurrence that you have two goats on one team, and that's what's happening here, and that's why people are hating the Chiefs so much. You have the best quarterback that anybody's ever seen. You have the best tight end that anybody's ever seen, and those two together are absolutely slaying it. They're getting ready to pass up Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski for the most touchdowns, from two players in playoff history. And it's so early on, man. Patrick Mahomes is in his sixth season or fifth. It's just insane. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on, Mike. Let's talk about some receipts that we kept over the year or over the past week, whatever. Let's just talk about some of them and bring those back up and see what people had to say.
Okay, I got one right here from a guy named Larry Moody. He says, Bengals fan here. We going thump y'all again. Okay. He is impressed by everything we do offensively. That had to be referring to Willie Gay. Steve, was Willie Gay impressed by anything the Bengals did offensively yesterday? Because I didn't see a lot of offense from the Bengals, to be honest.
I saw an offense that got absolutely 100% hands down dominated yesterday by our defense that people wanted to talk trash on all year long. Chris Jones owned the Bengals yesterday. He owned Joe Burrow. He lived in that backfield. He did what he wanted when he wanted to do it. Frank the Shark Clark tore him apart. It was just insane, dude. So yeah, I'm sure Willie Gay probably wasn't that impressed because they were not impressive.
Yeah. How's it impressive that your quarterback, Joe Burrow, throws for 270 yards and he had more picks than touchdowns? Your big bad running backs ran for a total of 41 rushing yards. And then Higgins and Chase and Boyd, none of them even seen 90 yards receiving. None of them had over 7 receptions. None of them had over 6 receptions. They got shut down by a bunch of rookies. You guys got completely dominated by the rookies that, guess what? They're going to get better and they're going to be back again next year. And this whole core that the Bengals have, I'm telling you, once you pay Joe Burrow that money, you ain't going to be able to bring all these guys back. They're going to take massive pay cuts or they ain't coming back. Okay, another one here from SG. He don't even put his full name in, just some initials, because why wouldn't he? He's a Bengals fan that talked a bunch of trash and then he went back in his cave and
Can't
never
spell
said
it.
yeah, never going to come back and admit he was wrong. He says this will finally be the game Bengals win comfortably 34-24. Casey gets a garbage TD. We responded back with y'all talk too much, laughing emojis. And then he says, yeah, Chase breaks single postseason game record receiving yards, goes for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, good call there, buddy. You were 225 yards short, 4 touchdowns short, and 34-24. No, I told you you weren't going to get to 24.
Yeah, Chase really dominated and set some NFL records yesterday. I noticed that. Or actually, you know what? He got completely shut down. If it wasn't for one long catch, he did squat on the day. He's a great talent. Don't get me wrong. He's a really good receiver. He's a huge guy. He does get away with a lot of OPI, but he will attack the ball and he does make catches. We saw that in that long pass reception down the middle of the field. But overall, our rookies shut him down. They took him out of the game, made him a non-factor.
Yeah, he could have been on a milk carton yesterday because I didn't see him anywhere near the end zone.
I saw him after the game complaining. That's the only time I saw him. He looked like he wanted to cry a little bit with the rest of them. How good was Frank Clark yesterday after the fact, guys? If anybody didn't watch any of his press conferences right after the game, I beg you go back and look those up on YouTube. He is a gem.
You know what? The Bengals, tuna in a can, baby. Tuna in a can.
Tune in a can. Yeah, something else I found hilarious is, the ringleader of Houday, Zim Houday. Zim Houday on Twitter. He always tweeting every 5 seconds. He lives on the app and he thinks he's some notable whatever Houday. But anyway, he actually posted and said, "Oh, they finally got us." And so first of all, obviously that was a backhanded thing. And then Chris Jones responded to it and said, "Shut up, clown." I was so happy when I saw that. And then, of course, he had to fire back at Chris Jones with something weak, too. He tweeted, "Christopher, after telling these people how good you were all week, this is the thanks that I get shaking my head. You played well. Congrats on your first playoff sack. Keep up the good work. That's a damn good O-line you're going up against with Philly. I know you love my film study. I'll be watching."
Okay, look, nobody loves his film study because nobody watches his film study. Nobody
You
cares.
study film?
Um, B, you congratulate Chris Jones, who is now Joe Burrow's daddy. You congratulate him on 2 sacks, baby. Because did you see the sack where Joe Burrow's like literally like this? And
Oh,
Chris
that picture
Jones
was
is just
great.
bear hugging him.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good
dude,
pick.
Burrow was scared to death. I bet you he's seen Chris Jones in his sleep. He was hearing footsteps all night. I'm so tired of hearing "Who Dey." Can we just get rid of that for the whole year now? It's done. You guys are never going to be anything beyond what you've had for 2 years. So, congrats. Enough with the "Who Dey." Give it back to the Saints where it belongs.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is if you're a Bengals fan or you're a Chiefs hater, just go ahead and suck it up, man. Just admit it. The Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, if not football completely. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback you've ever watched play football. Travis Kelce's the best tight end you've ever watched play football. Have some respect. Shut up. Quit running your mouth. You've never won anything. Get over it. You're a poverty franchise. Go back to Cincy. Shut up. Zip it.
While you're sitting at home on the couch watching the Bungles replays of Days of Glory, go ahead and get out that NFL rule book and read that a little bit so you guys understand what intentional grounding is and what it means to not hit a quarterback 7 yards out of bounds. That'd be pretty cool too.
So thanks for joining us, Chiefs Kingdom, in this week of bashing the Cincinnati Bengals because we beat them after they talked trash. And we're going to bring up way more receipts later this week. We're going to talk about all the time. If you want to get in on the trash talk, make sure to just get in our comments, man. We've talking trash to everybody. I've actually spent 24 hours just going on social media and putting like the cat crying gif and things like that because it's hilarious. They deserve every last bit of it. And if you want to see some more trash talking, go watch our instant reactions from the game yesterday. Click on that video right now. Make sure to get in the comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell. And we'll be back tomorrow with more on your AFC champion, Kansas City Chiefs.
Who Dey? Who Dey? Who Dey gonna beat them? Who Dey think gonna beat them? We Dey.
Everybody.
We beat them.